It's pickly.
Can I taste it?
Nice. See, it's pickly. You like it? Okay, so Daddy has been having some digestive issues.
Yes, you
recently.
have.
As you know, we all do. Let's be mature about it. It's always a good idea for your microbiome or your
That's
gut
your idea.
microbiome to have fermented stuff in your diet, but you want it to be like real fermented. So we're gonna do a lacto fermentation base. What we will do is we're first gonna make sauerkraut. That's what this video is gonna be about today. And then we're gonna use that lacto ferment starter, the juice that's from that the sauerkraut that we make, to make a bunch of other stuff. We're gonna make salsas.
Yes.
We're gonna make some juices.
Yes.
Some lacto fermented juices that are really good. And I mean really good. They're naturally carbonated and super fruity and delicious. But yeah, so let's get started. You ready, Chica?
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so with lacto fermentation, we gotta start by making sure everything is very clean because we are utilizing the bacteria that is naturally present on the food that you're lacto fermenting, and then preventing the bad bacteria by simply adding salt. And that gets rid of about 99% of the bad bacteria. The one that's left can kill you, but it's not really a serious threat, and there's ways to prevent that, which we can talk about. But the first thing is you just need to thoroughly clean all working surfaces that you are working on so that you can make sure you can get a good lacto ferment without any other flavors or bacterias that will want to be present in it. So that's what we're doing. Usually what we will do is we want to submerge this in boiling water, but we recently just cleaned these, so we're gonna just hand scrub them for now, and that should be fine. But I usually always recommend, I probably shouldn't be doing this, especially since I'm doing it on video, the safest way to do this is by submerging these in boiling water to make sure that your lacto ferment is safe. So we'll do that now. Okay, so this is Star San, and it's a food safe sanitizer that I love using, especially whenever I am making cheeses or I am doing lacto fermentation, because you basically dilute this in with water, and you can use it as a spray cleaner just as a spray sanitizer. And it's safe enough to where you could even drink a little bit of it; it'd be fine. Anyway, this stuff is awesome, so highly recommend getting it. All right, well, this is one thing we need to do. It's very important. Is just wash off the surface of your vegetables that you're using. So we're making sauerkraut. So
Which is going to be really good.
Yep. Now you don't want to rinse it too intense because, of course, this has all the good bacteria that is needed to grow on the surface of it. So we're not going to wash it too much. We just want to make sure all of the bads and any whatever that's on the surface can get off, and then we will go from here to cut it up. Okay, so we're going to turn this on. We want to zero out with the vessel that we're using. At that point, we're just going to start stuffing it in. All right, so this is pretty good. I'm going to pack it in a little bit. And then what we need to do is measure out the full vessel. All right, so this is 308 grams. so far, but we need to get the total weight with water in it. All right, so if you see here, it's 785 grams. Now what we'll do is multiply that by 2.5%. And that's how much salt that we're gonna add into this. So we measured it out and it needs 19.62 grams. So that is exactly what we'll do. So that we can properly mix it, we'll just pour the water out. Just like that. So we want it to be very well mixed. We'll measure out 19.62. Now we're going to do the exact same thing with all the rest of them. All right, and so now what's really important is we always want to keep this all fully submerged. I didn't save a piece. It's been a while since I've done this, but usually I'll put like a piece of the cabbage over the top and then put this weight on it just to make sure that it stays fully submerged the whole time. These are allow air to escape. Okay, so here is our sauerkraut that we just started. And while we're waiting it to get ready, which will take a few days until it gets nice and funky, but wanted to go over a couple of things. The first is that there's two primary forms of fermentation. So there's yeast fermentation, and then there's lacto fermentation. Yeast fermentation uses fungus to do that, and usually you'll think of like most beers, even though some beers like sours will also use a bacteria. But this is a type of fermentation it's bacterial fermentation, and its specific type is called lacto. Now what this is doing is basically just using salt to inhibit bad types of bacteria. So there is on all of our vegetables, even on our skin, on fruits, there's an infinite amount of microorganisms, okay? And there's this very good kind that we like that can preserve food. It's called lactobacillus bacteria. And lacto fermentation is just the process of inhibiting the bad bacteria while allowing the good bacteria to grow. And so salt somehow stops all that bad stuff, well, except for potentially one type, and allows the good stuff to grow, which is what we're trying to do. So it basically what it does is it uses a good amount. It uses the sugar that's located on vegetables and fruits to feed itself and to continue to grow. And so as the bacteria eats those sugars, then it converts them into lactic acid. So bad bacteria, this is a good just rule of thumb, is bad bacteria loves oxygen. So that's why we put the weights on top, why we want to keep that completely out of the equation. Another important note, you do not want to have additives in your ingredients like salt. So don't use iodine salt. I used plain salt because I didn't have it, but a lot of these have like caking agents. or whatever else. So try to use pure sea salt or kosher salt is the best thing to do. And then the last thing is there is that bad bacteria I was talking about is where botulism comes from. And so that's obviously very dangerous. You can actually die from it. So there's a couple important things. The first thing is trust your nose, right? So it's going to smell funky. Like sauerkraut obviously is not going to smell amazing, or some people I like it. But if you smell something and it smells putrid, like it makes your stomach turn, well, that's probably a sign that it's not something you should eat if it smells like death. So trust your nose on that. The scientific way to go about it to test for botulism is not necessarily testing for botulism, but is you need to just get a pH meter or use like a pH strip or something like that. Because the bacteria that botulism comes from, it can lie dormant for years, and then under the right conditions, they will reactivate and then produce neurotoxins that can make you really sick or kill you. So the reason why acidity is important is that basically if you can test the pH and it's below 4.2, then you're totally good, because the C. botulinum cannot live under that environment. So if you get like an active fermentation that can't go below 4.6, then it's just a big no-go. Just better be safe to throw it away. And yeah, that is, I think, about it. We're gonna check in on this thing after a few days. After it starts bubble, you'll start seeing this bubble through. It'll smell a little bit more like pickly, and then it should be good to go. But 3 simple ingredients: kosher salt or plain sea salt, water, and cabbage. And once we have that, we're going to use this juice for a starter. All right, thanks. All right, I think it's ready.
Okay.
Grab one, bring it over here. Come on. Sauerkraut smells good. That's my girl.
Oh, honey pickle.
Oh yeah. So we just do this, and you can smell it, and it smells pretty pickly. All right, let's bring it over here. We'll open it up. Here, come around the other side. Yeah, come here. Oh, I guess you don't like it. Here, hold this. Hold
It
this.
smells disgusting.
Hold it.
Of course it smells disgusting.
It's sauerkraut. It's basically like, this is what pickles are, but except this one, instead of it being pickles, is cabbage, so it has some funk in there. I just wash my hands, don't worry. Take one of these. It's pickly.
Can I taste it?
Okay. See, it's pickly. You like it? It's like a pickle. Except it's cabbage, not... You like it? All right, one more piece. Do you like the pickliness? Yeah, not everybody likes sauerkraut, but this is it's pretty good. And then that juice we're gonna use is our starter to make a bunch of other fun stuff. Cheetos. She'll eat it, but she doesn't love it. Daddy loves it. But you don't know I don't know if you've ever had sauerkraut.
Would you say 50 or 75%?
I would like it in...
So it's like 50%.
Here, have one more piece. You'll probably like it more than this.
Maybe if we mix it with the sausage we're gonna make. And if I make pretzels, I think you'd like it.
Chica. Let's go. Now we got our starter.
We're still all
See how
right.
cloudy it is? All that right there is just tons of good bacteria that we're gonna use as a starter to lacto ferment all kinds of stuff. Stay tuned. And
What's
boom,
mine?
sauerkraut on top of this big old sausage brat. Okay, this is what we're left with. All of our juice fits into these wide mouth ball jars. And this is what we use as the starter. So much bacteria, the good bacteria.